All right, guys. New project, just a quick winter project. It is cold up here in Pennsylvania. Actually, the plasma table is just actually starting to ice up here. So I don't have heat out here in the garage, but try our best here. I do have a livestock heater I keep in the corner there when it gets real bad, but hopefully I won't need that here for a couple more days. New project here is a Smuge Pot. The idea here is I want to be able to fit 2 of these on one sheet when I sell them, so get the maximum return out of these. This is a smaller one. I've made actual one smaller than this, and it did work. Different from the ones that you see on the internet. I use a flat top and a flat bottom just to simplify the number of welds. I do have one with a cone shape on it out in the yard here that I use around the house here. But it seemed to work pretty good with just a square. So if you look at the top, this is the base, and then this one's the top. This assembly here will get welded onto here. An optional part is I could weld tabs and bolt it on there if I wanted to, so I could change it. But I'm pretty happy with the way this one's going to stay. So this is the top, bottom, and the this long piece on the side here. This is going to be the tank sides of it. So we'll weld that. And usually what I do on the bottom panel, I weld on the inside and the outside, just because it's so hard to keep them leak resistant. Diesel seems to find even the slightest pinhole to leak through. So I usually do that on the bottom. Top, I run 1 bead and just be done with it. This right here, this is a little cover for here, and I also have a hole drilled for it right there. Over here on this is the square box that goes on top of there. I do kind of my own little bend design here. Since I don't have a press brake to bend this, I do these little joggles. See if I can make these white for you guys. And basically what they are is just alternating left and right. And then it actually bends really easy on those. So the distance in between these is about right about 1/4 of an inch. So I just run those all the way up and down. Lettering. This font right here is just a regular font you can download. So you notice the pieces in the middle will be connected. That's a big thing you want to watch when you're making letters on steel rather than the vinyl. You have to have a way to attach the center of the A's, the B's, the P's, the R's. So usually that's what I stick with. And if it's a letter that I don't like, let's just say this letter U is a solid U. What I'll do is just draw a little box here, and then I'll weld it within the software to the background. And that's the same thing I did with these stars. These stars actually weren't part of the font. I just stuck those on top, and then I cut them out on there. So I got my YouTube page, just this USA graphic, B&L Adventures 2023. That's my wife and I's Instagram that we travel the country with when we can in our converted school bus, soon to be fire truck. That's another project we're working on now. And then finally, just this graphic here. This is God is greater than your ups and downs. So just keep that in mind. So we're going to download this. The format my machine uses is a DXX file. That's like an AutoCAD file. This is an STV unit, CNC. It's built in Las Vegas. So it's about I got this pre-COVID. So I'd say it's, probably going on 5-6 years now. And to be honest, haven't had a lick of issues with it. The torch, it has an automatic or a safety feature with the torch. If the torch gets struck, it breaks away. That little switch in there has been problems. I guess I said I had no licks of problems, but that has, and I actually just pulled the switch off and twisted the wires together until till I come up with something different. But that torch head is on a magnetic base. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to tram this over towards me. What I like to do is, with the new sheet on here, this is a 4x8 sheet. The table's just a little bigger than it. I tram down the side, and I just noticed like it's coming off the panel. So what I'll do is I'll just align it up a little better and then tram it back and forth. So that's good enough. So in the software, I'm just going to assign this to a home position, bottom left-hand corner. This is not my graphic. I need to grab it off of here. So we're going to grab this graphic, export. My software I use is called Flexi Design. I've used this since the early 2000s when I used to run a vinyl sign business. So I'm used to it. I could pretty much design anything mechanically inside it, and it's just a simple 2D piece of software. But it's one of those things you get really used to, and man, I tell you, Fusion 360 is just man, you could spend days and months and years trying to learn how to do it. But I can tinker around in there, but I'm not as efficient. I can do a lot more stuff over here. So I'm going to throw this into my USB drive, and I'm calling this my advertisement personal smudge pot. All right, so saved it. Let's go hit eject. My typical warning message I get, and we'll grab it. So it's an older computer. I hate it actually, but it's free. It's not part of the STV package here, so pretty simple here. You just open the file, let's see, this PC, and E, and there's my file. There's my file over here, and then I have to hit this button and it pulls it onto my workspace. Once it's in my workspace here, before I send it to the main screen, looks like I got 238 pierces. That's 238 times that plasma is going to turn off and on. So this is going to be a big one as for like consumable. That one that's in it right now, I've cut 3 sheets with it so far, probably totaling the total amount, probably around 235 pierces. So I might be changing that in between here. Everything looks good. This uses an offset as, you know, your tip. Want to make sure that the offset matches the kerf, I guess the word is, of your plasma arc. So the wider your arc is, the farther out that I want to slide this thing. And the problem is you will actually lose some detail the further you go. It'll close in everything. And what I end up finding out too is certain parts within the letters, if you go too far with that, like the A's, the middle of the A's and whatnot will fall off. So I'm going to keep this pretty low. It's only a 3 thou offset here, which is going to be fine for what this is. This is just going to be just a rough cut. You know, it's for myself, so I don't have to worry about it. Lead in and lead out. When you make a hole like the middle of this thing here, this the fire pit thing, you don't want it to start right on the edge. You want it to start in the middle, so it cuts it, burns the hole, then pulls it into the metal and goes around it. That way you don't end up with a big slag hole. So you always want a lead in and a lead out on there. So all I have to do now is just hit check mark, pull it in. It is now on my work plane. I want to set the 0 height of my torch. Here's my torch right here. So I will scroll down, just touch the surface. You can see it hits red. I don't want it that high. Okay, 0. So now we're set. Once again, set that location. It's getting noisy here. Got my plasma set up to 43 amps. And I'm gonna back down my speed here. I think I was a little fast on certain things. So the problem is you get too slow on your inches per minute, and then what that is, that's how it's tramming across the thing. You end up more slag on the bottom of it, and then more burning on the top. Cut height. So this is, it automatically adjusts the cut height, but this is the minimum that we want it to go, 0.06. And it does that by watching the voltage of the plasma cutter. So there's a cable that actually connects the box to the plasma cable to watch the voltage. And you know, 112 volts is usually what I see. Sometimes it goes up and down. All depends on the grounding of it. Speaking of grounding, so I'm up to a jumper cable now because these grounds do not last very long. What happens is moisture will wick up through the end of this. I actually had to go all the way to the plasma cutter on a 20-foot lead. So just something to think about. And for this, for right now, this is what I do. I sacrificial clamp this on top. It's not the best setup, but it's working. I do need to clean that up one of these days. So let's just tram around it. Let's see what we got. So it's just running it around it. I want to make sure that it is going to be in my constraints. See, I got a little bit extra on the side. That looks good. All right, I'm happy with that. So plasma cutter's on. I got a big air compressor. It's actually in the basement of my house, and this is temporary, but this is a copper drip loop. Usually I get all my water right here. So I had a little bit, but usually I never get anything in here. And then from here, it goes to a Harbor Freight dissectant filter down here, and that one actually works really good. I was surprised with it. Motor guard filter. That is a toilet paper style type of unit. And my plasma cutter is an Everlast. I think it's the 882i, so it's an 80 amp unit. Man, I think I paid $1,200 for it, and it's I will definitely keep on buying this brand. Consumables are dirt cheap. It's been just a great machine. So what I'm gonna do real quick, I'm gonna burn a hole right there so I know where that's at. I'm just gonna hit the space bar. Actually, I want to go a little lower. And what I do for that is, got some high wind right now, and in case I lose power, I like to have a place where I can go back, set the torch to my home spot, and then recut if I need to, because lose power, it doesn't know where your image is. So, all right, here we go. All I have to do is click play, and what I'm gonna do, I'll get this going. I'm gonna flip you guys over to a tripod, because I'm not gonna watch it. I got other things I'm gonna do while this is cutting, but this will probably take a good 45 minutes to cut. So, like I said, 238 pierces. So, here we go. So that's drawing the first piece. You can see the voltage here, and that's making this torch go up and down. You could, so you can see it raised a little bit, because this table's not perfectly level. All right. It's cutting a circle right now. Boom, like that, it's clean. This is a little bolt hole for that. And then this is going to be the base, or actually the top of the smudge foot. One thing you do got to watch is they're called tip-ups. So whenever that piece of metal tips up, and then it'll knock the torque head off it. See, that's a tip-up, and it could actually hit that. I keep the water level high. Actually, I can actually have it over the top of the plate too. Prevents warping. Doesn't hurt the plasma cutter at all. I'll pull this out so you guys can see it. Look how nice that is. Got a little bit of slag on it, but it's looking pretty good. All right, I'm gonna set you guys up on a tripod. All right, back to this again. So you got the nozzle. It's got a small hole in it. This is what the air and the electricity comes out. You got the electrode, and you have the swirl ring. So this just simply screws onto the electrode on here. Then we have the two pieces. Slide it up. And now we can resume cutting. I need to cut this one side again. It, like I said, that's where that tip was going bad. All right, we should be free now. There we go. All right. Sometimes pieces stick in here if they're on these slats, so you have to break them out here. We did lose one part. It's okay. All right, guys, this is going to be the tank, the sides of the tank, and we need to split it up into 4 equal parts. It's going to be a 10 by 10 by 10. Pretty simple there. 10, 20, 30, 40. All right, we're just going to transfer some lines. So these are all 10. We will lose some space when you bend a piece of metal. It's called a bend allowance. So you do use up some of the metal. So technically these two sides are going to be shorter than these two, the ends, because there's no bend there. So it's going to be a little long. What you could do is actually just shave off some of that on both ends if you wanted to, but Smuge Pot really doesn't matter. So we're not going for aircraft quality sheet metal, which I have dabbled in. So to cut this or to bend this, I do have a Swag off-road press brake. It's overkill for this. Plus it doesn't give a nice square. It just, they're round edges, and what ends up happening is you get that box folded around that press brake, and then I don't know, you get bows in the middle of it. So I just take my grinder, score some lines here, and then just simply bend it in, and then we'll tack it, and we should be fine there. So I'm gonna get to that. Got my grinder. I'm not a fan of Ryobi grinders, guys. My other tools I do have some Milwaukee. I'm slowly building a collection on. I'm actually looking at the Harbor Freight grinders. Seems like a lot of the channels I watch, Fab Rats especially, they seem to have pretty good luck on it. Problem with these batteries in the system on these is can't really put a lot of weight on them, and they put the battery into a fail state or shuts off, then you got to restart again. But it's one of them things where you make the commitment to a brand years ago, and you're in too deep to really switch. But I do have the palm sander, which is great. Believe it or not, the grease gun, I use that thing a lot on heavy equipment. It works good. I have burned up one of these. I have burned up the Sawzall. Those are two I will not ever buy again. Circular saw is great. All the flashlights, these flashlights are all great. But go ahead and that mark was not made for me. That was someone else's mark. Ah, there we go. Just try to get as close to 90 as possible. And then our last one is right there. All right. So we have that piece, and we have our top and bottoms. This piece will go in the top. Yep, it'll be fine. And this is the bottom. That'll be good. I put an inch all the way around it. So I figured, I don't know, do the math here. 10 by 10 by 10. What's the volume of that? Hey guys, here's the box section, or the chimney section. I'm going to do something a little different here on this one. Usually they bend these out, in, and the flames come out of them. I'm trying to get the mass volume of flame up instead of out. So I'm going to bend these out, and the idea here is it's going to pull extra air up through the top to give me a taller flame at the top. The other thing I did was I cut these little U's or C's in there. I'm watching some videos of trying to get fire to spin, and there was a couple on YouTube where they were building these smokeless fire pits and burn barrels and whatnot, and put these tabs in, or slats of steel So I'm going to give that a try. I'm going to bend these in. The theory is it's going to pull cool air from the sides as it's going up and give it a spin. Didn't realize it till its end, but these last two didn't cut. So I can always take my grinder and probably cut those in, or freehand it with the torch. I can take that CNC torch off and stick the other one on there. So we'll see what happens. But in order to get to that point, I need to bend these things, I think, before I fold it into a box. So I'm going to flip it over. Actually, these ones here, we're going to move to the end of the table, and I'm going to tap these ones down in, and then we'll flip it over, and then I'm going to tap those ones the other way. Let's see what happens here. There we go. It is somewhat fragile until I get it all bent in. So we just don't want to go too far with it too many times. Yeah, I think a 1/4 inch ended up being closer to 1/8 of an inch on there. So we'll adjust that file. Yeah. All right. Beautiful. I know it's hard to see the words in there right now, but at night, against the black background, it's going to look pretty sweet. All right, I'm going to get the welder set up. We'll get some tacks. I'm not going to 100% weld this. There's no need to do that. But yeah, it's going to look pretty awesome. All right, cool deal. All right, here's the finished project. I forgot to put some legs into the CAD file, so now it has some legs. I think I'm going to do some sort of cool feet on the bottom of it. I don't like leaving those pointed edges. I just put an LED light up there for now. All right, let's get it lit. Let's see what it looks like. All right, guys. Just gonna do a quick burn on it. Just put a couple gallons of diesel in it. Maybe not even a couple. That should be plenty. I burned everything in these, from hydraulic fluid, used motor oil, kerosene, diesel. Obviously kerosene and diesel are going to burn the cleanest, but with all these holes in here too, it does get affected by wind. I did burn it in a previous clip on the other side of the house, and it was just way too windy for it. All right, we'll let it warm up a little bit. All right, guys, here it is lit. The wind doesn't help here very much, but you get the idea of it. Yeah, if it was a little less windy, you'd probably have a 2 to 3 foot flame coming out the top. But the wind is just kind of blowing it right out the sides right now. And it's about to run out. But hopefully you guys like the video. I'm going to be building a little smaller one than this to maybe take camping. Seems to be a great discussion piece. But all right, stay tuned. I'll probably have another one with the cement mixer we built. I'm going to remake it. I've lent it out there for a couple months now, and I got it back, and I'm going to make some improvements on it.